Her little legs are stretching so long. Oh, and
big stretch.
Yeah, she's doing it. I turned her light off and her filter off, so she's like, "Why is it so quiet and dark?"
One of these days we'll do
I don't like it.
Thing where we actually are professional about it, but that is not today.
Today's not that day.
No.
Okay, so we're live. Welcome to the 3-episode podcast. Tonight we're doing episode 3 of our travel trio, our choose your travel destination trio, as it would be, because that's how we decided to frame this up. We have heard Japan versus Greece and Canadian Niagara Falls versus Orlando, Florida. Tonight we are hearing Hawaii versus New Hampshire, with Val on the team Hawaii and Devin arguing for New Hampshire. Before I read the rules, let me go around. As usual, I'm your host, Justin. I am just going to go clockwise, or actually counterclockwise. John?
I'm not John going first. That's amazing. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Coming to you from the Junior IV Production Studios, Boston, Massachusetts, out of Medford, Massachusetts. Woohoo! It's me, ya boy, Riv.
Oh,
nice.
Hey, you know what's cool? 3 of the squares tonight actually come from Boston.
That's true.
Or thereabouts. Sorry, Jess.
Mm-hmm. I say Boston. It's easier than saying the South Shore, because then people are like, "What's the South Shore?" Oh, this town. What's that? I drink
I'm from
coffee.
Abington. Where's that? I'm from Boston. I eat baked beans 3 meals a day.
And continuing on introducing people. Thank you, John.
I was on the harbor.
We have Team Japan, Ryan.
Hello.
We have Devin joining us again. She's going to be arguing for New Hampshire. Hello, Devin.
Hello.
We have Val, Team Hawaii tonight.
Aloha.
We have Steve, Team Pandora.
Morning.
And then we have our best friend of the show, our special guest judge tonight, Jess. Hello, Jess.
Hi, guys. Long time no see.
Okay, so this is how it's going to work. The rules are, so you will be arguing for a week vacation from a Monday to a Friday. We have 6 sections. Each section is worth 10 points. Each person gets 5 minutes for their location in each section to argue for whatever that section is. We go from one person to the other person. You both get your time to argue. The person who goes first on one section will go last on the next section. After that, after each person has gotten their time to go, the judge will give each of them a score 1 out of 10 based upon how well they argued that point for their area towards like your feeling, like how much that section made you want to go to their place. So like how well they convinced you for that section to go to their place. At the end, the winner is whoever has the most points. Easy as that. So I am going to get a timer up. And who would like to go first? Because we're going to kick it off, because these usually, 5 minutes is 10 per and 30 an hour for all the sections. So we're going to kick it off quickly. So who wants to go first? The first section is weather. And that is, what is the weather like? Sunny or cold, wet or dry? Is this place a seasonal place? That kind of stuff. So who's ready to go?
I'll go.
Atta girl.
All right.
Okay.
So the weather in New Hampshire.
One second. Ready? And I'm going to start timer. Go.
Okay. So the weather in New Hampshire is absolutely fantastic. New Hampshire is definitely a 4 seasons destination. You can go there literally any time of the year and find something to do or something that you would enjoy. What's wonderful about it, like I said, is that you don't have to go, during even a peak season, because you could still go at any time. There's no time of year that it's particularly rainy, but there are times of the year that it's particularly snowy. So if you're someone who likes skiing, it's definitely a place that you would want to go. I think that today in New Hampshire, one of the places that I was going to specifically focus on for the purposes of this episode was Jackson, New Hampshire. And currently in Jackson, New Hampshire, it's mostly cloudy, 57 degrees. So very similar weather to here. However, it's actually going to snow on Friday there. So you do still get, you get the winter dragging on a little bit, but again, what's wonderful about it is that it is a 4 seasons destination. In the summertime, you really do get to enjoy the warm weather. And in the wintertime, you can enjoy the snow as well. So it's a great place to go for all the season.
Okay. Are you good?
I think so.
Okay. Because you still have 3 minutes left. So but if you're good, we can wrap it up there.
Does
That
anybody
works for
have
me.
questions about the weather in New Hampshire?
How much snow do they get in the winter?
They get a lot of snow in the winter.
That is good to know.
I hate that.
But a lot of people like that though. So if you're the type of person who really enjoys like outdoor activities, specifically in the winter, whether it's skiing, snowboarding, whatever it may be, it's definitely a place to go. Like I said, the snow could be pretty treacherous. They get feet upon feet of snow. But it's really beautiful, especially if it's something that you particularly enjoy. Me, I love the snow. Now that I actually have to clean up the snow, do I love it as much? Not really, but I feel like if you're on vacation in New Hampshire and it's not something you have to worry about, it makes a big difference. Like my parents go up to New Hampshire like almost every other weekend because my uncle has a house up there, and my dad always says it's different when you're on vacation because you don't have to do it. It's not like, you have to get up and, go to work. So when you're vacationing there, it's a whole different scenario because, it's not like you have to shovel out the cars to get to work at 8:30. So you can really take your time with it. So you can be able to just sit inside and, drink your cup of coffee or tea or whatever, and just watch the snowfall. And it's not something that you particularly have to stress about. So.
Very cool.
Devin, just so you know, I'm pretty sure Jess is a Hufflepuff. So she wants coffee black like her soul, which is very light, whipped cream, sprinkles, and it's actually just a hot chocolate.
I'm a Slytherin, actually.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yes. Thank you.
At least we're still friends. I'm apparently a Ravenclaw and I'm salty about it.
Hell yeah.
You're just salty about being the
I
best
drink my
house?
coffee
That's
black.
good.
Yeah, why are you salty about being the best, John?
Because you guys got me to take 3 separate tests and I got the same answer 3 separate times.
Well, that's 'cause those work.
Dumbledore, what houses do we have here at Hogwarts? We have Gryffindor and Slytherin and Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw.
Yeah, fuck you.
You know what?
Good seekers. What the hell's a
Hufflepuff are
Hufflepuff?
better because they didn't get involved in anything. They're there for
It's a
fucking learning
badger.
shit.
It's a
They're
badger.
busy.
Yeah, honey badger don't care.
Okay, are you ready?
Honey badgers are badass.
I was gonna say, are you ready, Val?
I'm ready.
Okay,
Are you
go
ready
ahead.
now?
Okay, so Hawaii is a Pacific chain of islands in the middle of the ocean. It's a tropical climate. And at sea level, it's between 76 to 85 degrees year round. Temperatures at night are usually a little bit less, between like 12 and 18 degrees less. So still in like the high 50s and 60s, and it's about the same year round. When you go higher in altitude, like some of the mountains like Mauna Kea on the Big Island of Hawaii, or I think it's Koki on Kauai, it can get a little chilly at night. I've been to the top of Mauna Kea and needed like a winter jacket and a hat, which I think is really cool. And it also snows on Mauna Kea sometimes. Humidity is usually between 50 and 80 degrees, which can seem high. However, the humidity is highest in the morning, and as the sun rises, like breezes come through and take a lot of that humidity away. Nights are definitely way less humid, so if humidity is a problem, it shouldn't be an issue. I hate humidity, and I was cool there. So precipitation also depends on what part of the island you're in. Generally, like the southwestern parts of the island have way less rain and sometimes can get as little as 20 inches a year. for whatever reason, the way that the wind goes, I'm not good at explaining weather. Northeastern and higher altitudes of parts of the island have much higher rain rates. Hawaii has around 270 like completely sunny days a year, which is like a huge portion of it. So it's something that is pretty dependable. No matter what season you go, you'll know the weather, so you won't have to worry if you have like a shitty vacation week sitting in the rain or not. So I mean, it's definitely a tropical climate. So you know what you're going for when you go to Hawaii. There are seasons, so like December to March are like the cold seasons, but they're only like 10 degrees cooler. That tends to be when there's a little bit more rain. But because it's, in those tropical climates, it's pretty much the same year round, which is really nice. It's like a dependable place to go. And even when it rains, it's kind of like, it reminds me of Florida in that sometimes like you'll get like sun showers. It never really like has ever poured all day any of the times that I've been there. So I think it's, the weather moves fast. So when like rain clouds come in, they usually come and go pretty fast. But yeah, so it's pretty dependable. It's pretty, the weather's pretty, stable throughout the year. So yeah. I don't know if anybody has any questions about the weather.
What are the odds Godzilla will attack?
Never zero.
I think it belongs in the safety.
No, so yeah, I don't know if you guys have questions about weather, but it's pretty stable.
Does anyone have questions on topic?
Yeah, on topic. Not.
Listen, Godzilla coming to shore caused a tsunami. I just want to make sure that I'm safe when I go visit Battleship Arizona.
Which you did realize that happened in Hawaii, but it did not happen when he came to shore in Hong Kong. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was just talking to Ryan about it for.
So does Hawaii have any extreme weather?
So, I mean, it doesn't really get like desert hot. It usually doesn't go much above 90. And it doesn't drop below much. I don't think it hardly drops below the 50s. I think that's pretty rare. And that's like at night. There's like, I mean, 85 to some people is extreme, I guess, if you're like used to the cold or hate the heat. But again, it's
from the UK.
Or if you're, I mean, it's not really, on top of Mauna Kea is pretty, it's cold, but it's no colder than like walking around on like a middle of the fall day. I don't know. I had a hat and a coat and I was fine, but it's, it's higher elevation, so it's going to be colder, and it does snow there every so often. So those are about as extreme as it gets.
Great. But no like tsunamis or like really weird random tropical storms.
I'll get to that in safety. And if I forget, remind me. But like, so because it's in the middle of the ocean and it's closer to Japan than it is to California, there are like the errant. So like when there's a tsunami warning in Asia, usually Hawaii will also get that tsunami warning, but like tsunamis don't reach Hawaii. So there's like no real danger of it. They just have to get the warning because they're within a certain risk range. So
okay. Very cool. So it is that time. And here we go. Here's the score sheet. Okay, so reflect on their arguments for weather, Jess, and then give each of them a score of 1 to 10 about how well they described that that the weather in their place and how well they made you want to visit, because the whole thing is about wanting to go on a vacation there. So as far as the weather, which one sounds better to you weather wise? That's basically, and it's a 1 to 10, and you give each of them a 1 to 10. So go ahead, all you.
So Hawaii, which I was surprised, I thought it was like super crazy weather tropical wise, like 100 degrees only. And knowing that it's not as high, I do like more because I prefer warmer climate. Nothing too hot, but like, that 85 range I do enjoy. So knowing that's a guaranteed weather, I do prefer a lot more than New Hampshire because New Hampshire is pretty, it's New England, it fluctuates. So both did a very good job explaining the weather in each state. And I do like that. But preferred, like if I wanted to deal like vacation wise, I'd probably have like 8 out of 10 for Hawaii and then 7 out of 10 for New Hampshire.
Okay. Hawaii gets an 8 and New Hampshire gets a 7. There we go. Cool.
I like, Justin, that you totally wrote out Hawaii and then New Hampshire just got
It's too.
now we're good.
Well, it wouldn't go on the edges of the
Hampshire-
cell of the spreadsheet. That
cell.
always bothers me.
Yeah, but he could have just done the high for Hawaii.
Listen, people aren't
guess.
that smart. They'd probably not understand.
I mean, only if they're watching this on YouTube. Otherwise,
This is true.
Oh,
So
God.
folks at home, you can find most of our episodes every Tuesday night here at 8 p.m. on YouTube.
Hold on. My ring light just
And then
decided to heat
afterwards,
itself.
still on YouTube.
Sorry, my ring light.
Yeah, but this is for like 6 months from now when we put this episode up, and we want to try to get people back onto this channel.
No, Justin's
John.
unemployed now, so we might get our episodes out faster.
You should yell
sick, it
that.
might be on tomorrow.
All right, what's next? I got a lot to say.
Okay, so the next category is main attractions. This is historical places to visit, entertainment venues, famous places, parks, stuff like that. So Devin went first last time, so it is your turn to go first, Val.
Okay,
And
I
you
have a
can-
ton about this. So can someone yell like 1 minute warning when I'm
Oh,
at the
yeah,
1
yeah.
minute warning? Okay, cool.
Yeah, neither of you went close enough to it for me to like actually start warning about that. So, but I will give you warnings as far as time. So,
Okay.
Your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay, so I broke it down into environmental, social, commercial, and historical main attractions. So for environmental, there's incredibly warm and clear tropical oceans, exotic marine life of all kinds, from colored fish to manta rays, sea turtles, whales, sharks, and way more. There's lots of shallows and coral reefs for amazing snorkeling and swimming. There's deep clear water for scuba diving and snuba. You can swim with sharks, which I've done off the.
Wait, what's Snuba?
It's a cross between. I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah.
So deep sea fishing and boating. If you like that, there's massive waves for like everybody knows how amazing the surfing in Hawaii is. That's where like the world-class surfers go. Inland, there's huge green lush valleys that you can drive through or hike through, active volcanoes. There's lava fields and tubes, which are like walkable, newly made rock formations due to like the constant slow flow of volcanic activity. There's hikeable paths that lead to waterfalls that are like hundreds of feet tall. There's swimmable freshwater lagoons. On top of Mauna Kea is the Mauna Kea Observatory, which is the world's largest astronomical observatory, and it has telescopes from 11 countries. It's got a visitor center there. I've gone to the top and done some stargazing there, and I cried like a baby because it was the most beautiful stargazing I've ever seen in my life. So for social, there's world-class beaches. There's incredible hotels and spas and resorts for, relaxation, rejuvenation, any kind of vacation that you want to have. There's so many bars and lounges and restaurants for active year-round nightlife. There's adventure sports of all kinds, zip lining, parasailing, kayaking, sea-doos, any type of adventure sport that you can think of is on those islands. Mauna Kea will even have skiable land when it snows on top of the island. Hawaii is also a hotbed of film and TV production. You can take driving tours of filming and production sites for where they filmed like Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Jumanji, Kong Skull Island, Lost, Hawaii Five-0, and way more. So commercial, I'll talk more about the restaurants and the food section. There's outdoor flea markets to sell all kinds of souvenirs like clothing, jewelry, keepsakes, different kinds of street foods. There's also in Oahu, which is like their urban city, there's Luxury Row, which is like a street that has all kinds of luxury brands that people come from all over the world to shop, like Gucci, Cartier, Tiffany, Chanel, anything you can think of. So that's commercial. Historical, I'll talk more about the native history in the cultural section. So this is just kind of like what's happened other than the native history. So the 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese Navy occurred in Honolulu at the Pearl Harbor Naval Base. Over 2,000 U.S. military and 2 minutes. And 68 civilians were killed. 1,000 military and 60 civilians were wounded. There's a large portion of the U.S. and naval aircraft and machinery being severely destroyed. The USS Arizona was a battleship that sunk and it entombed more than 900 people underwater. Their bodies have not been recovered, but the ship is visible from the water surface. And so a memorial viewing site was built over the ship. And just under 2 million people visit it per year. There's also a battleship museum, an aviation museum, and a Pacific Fleet Museum, sub-museum there as well. So Captain James Cook landed in Hawaii in 1778, and he and his men treated the native people like shit, like murdering, kidnapping. And in retaliation, a couple years later, natives stole their boats, killed and mutilated, including cooking and removing Captain Cook's bones to gain his power, which I think is badass, and drove his men out on their remaining boats. And so there's various signs around the islands noting where those events occurred. So those are like the historical, commercial, social, and environmental things. There's honestly something for everyone, whether you want to have like an adventure outdoor, a vacation, if you just want to sit on your ass and drink and get a massage, if you just want to sit and eat, if you want to, go see like world and, US history. If you love animals, there's really something for everyone, no matter what age you are, no matter what you're looking for in your vacation. So yeah.
Okay. You ended with 25 seconds. What?
I said, what if I want to go to Disney?
Go to Disney then.
I mean, they do have a Hawaii
good answer
resort.
There's a Disney Hawaii but there's a Disney resort everywhere.
It's
like,
called Ulani, and
whatever.
it's beautiful, and I want to go there so bad.
So go there.
It's probably a Lilo and Stitch theme, though. I feel like it would get boring after a while.
It's so pretty.
But Stitch is like amazing, so why would
Oh,
you
I
hate
bet.
on him?
Does anybody have any questions that
Oh,
are?
I love Stitch.
You can go do the Hawaiian roller coaster ride on a surfboard and maybe steal a koala to do it. Just like you have options.
Koalas have STDs. You don't want to touch them.
They have
All right.
chlamydia, but it's
Very
a type of chlamydia that can't be passed to humans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's
Then I will
still
steal a
also
koala
many
then.
reasons why
If it doesn't rip my
koalas
face
are
off.
nasty.
Yeah, koalas are terrible. They're like
Have you ever heard them like growl?
Well, no, because
Oh.
they're usually tripping balls off all the eucalyptus that sits and rots in their stomach.
Yes,
you know they're
and you
also
can't-
extremely stupid.
They're not. They're just tripping all the time.
No, you also they also won't
I
eat it
didn't
unless
know
it's on the
eucalyptus
tree.
Did that.
Yeah, it makes them very fucked up. But they've tried taking the leaves off and putting it on like plates or like in front of them, and they won't eat it unless they have to pick it themselves.
Yep.
They're fucking stupid.
They
don't
should.
trust
Honestly,
are.
the only reasons they're not died out is because of humans like saving them. Anyways, does
Yeah,
anybody have
basically.
questions about anything that goes on in Hawaii?
What's
What
Suva?
about Bob Dole?
Excuse me, what?
What about Bob Dole?
Any
Excuse me,
pertinent
what?
questions?
Bob
What's
Dole?
Okay, so Snuba is this really cool. You can do this anywhere. It's not just Hawaii. But so it's kind of like you have this flotation device that holds the funnel that you breathe from, and then there's this long tube that goes to like this mask that goes over your head. So it's essentially a snorkel, but it's got like this long tube on it, so you can go way deeper without having to have like your scuba license.
Nice.
So it's a good alternative for people who don't want to go get their scuba or like are a little bit more claustrophobic, but they also want to like swim a little bit deeper. Yeah, it's really cool. But they have that
Very
on every island, not just Hawaii.
Okay, Devin, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you
Okay.
ready?
Your
Are you-
time starts now.
All right. So Jess, I know you said for you really prefer like a warmer destination. So for the purposes of, me trying to pitch you going to New Hampshire, we'll say that you're going, during this time of year. So I would also like to focus specifically on Jackson, New Hampshire. Jackson, New Hampshire is a very popular destination, and there's tons of things to do. Of course, a lot of it is outdoor based. There's a lot of options for adventure. One of the biggest attractions in Jackson, New Hampshire is a theme park called Storyland. It's an amusement park specifically targeted towards children. It's like if you're a family, like it's a great place. There's literally over 30 attractions. And it's also very inexpensive too. Like the tickets are literally like $20 a pop. So that's one of the biggest attractions in that area. But outside of that, the options are limitless. There's hiking, there's biking, there's fishing, there's mountain climbing. The White Mountains are right outside of Jackson, New Hampshire. New Hampshire overall is actually home to almost 1,000 different lakes, as well as over 1,000 different mountains. So, in terms of outdoor and adventure sports, your options, again, are limitless. Specifically for Jackson, New Hampshire as well, there's so many cute little inns and spas, little resorts. Jackson, New Hampshire is also one of the places that's very popular as a wedding destination. So there's a lot of local inns that cater to couples that are just looking to run off and elope. So one of those places is called Christmas Farm Inn, and it's actually like each room is like there's like the Mrs. Claus, and it's what did I say, it was on like three.
It's basically a Hallmark movie come to life.
And it's like my dream come true, and I want to go there so bad. But and also right outside of there, there's actually a place called the Honeymoon Covered Bridge, which a lot of the couples who go specifically to Jackson, New Hampshire to get married, they'll go and they'll take pictures there. So just overall, it's a beautiful place to be able to escape to, and the options for, staying somewhere, whether you want to stay in a bigger hotel because you have a family and you have kids and you're looking for something that could cater to that, a pool and all of that, or if you're looking for like a little bit more of a cozy getaway, again, the options are limitless, and there's just so much to do out there. If you're going in the summertime, the lakes are beautiful. The beaches are absolutely wonderful. And yeah.
But the wintertime is a lot of skiing.
The wintertime is a lot of skiing. So if you were deciding to go there in the wintertime, there's skiing, there's ice fishing, there's snowboarding. I know when my parents go up to New Hampshire, they like to take out the ATVs. Like that's one of the big things up there. Everybody likes to drive around ATVs and do snowmobiling and stuff like that. So if you were looking to go in the wintertime, that's a great thing. The Christmas Tree Inn also does like an abundance of different events and, themed parties and things like that for people coming from out of town. So there's always something to do. And of course, the fall is also a beautiful season there as well, because you can really take advantage of all of the foliage, especially on the ride up, because if we are traveling specifically from Boston, Massachusetts, which I think we had all agreed on, you can drive up there. So the drive up there is honestly part of like the whole experience, because when you're driving through, you can stop along the way. There's scenic routes, and it's just a nice place to be able to escape to.
Okay.
Very
cool.
Anybody have questions? More of a comment, Jess. On the way up to Playland or whatever the hell she called it,
Storyland.
We're gonna stop at Canopy Lake Park and do the adult stuff.
Oh, I haven't been to Canopy Lake Park in years. I used to go every year when I was a kid, but I've never been to Storyland.
And it's on my bucket list.
Very cool.
Also, apparently there's a massive classic coin-op arcade in Laconia, and I assume that's on the way. I know where Laconia is, just not very...
Am I wearing my Laconia shirt too?
Is that in New Hampshire?
Yep.
Yes.
Put that up as a point.
It's in New Hampshire.
Babe, say Laconia Arcade is also there.
Oh yeah, Laconia Arcade is also there.
There you go.
Hey, Devin, how does Bob Dole feel about New Hampshire?
What's that?
How does Bob Dole feel about New Hampshire? Can he grow pineapples there?
I mean, Bob Dole
please don't
does
make
what
that
Bob
joke.
Dole wants.
Please don't make
Bob
that joke when I
Dole.
talk about the pineapples in Hawaii.
Bob Dole!
You've already made it once. Don't do it again.
Okay, so you know how this works, Jess. 1 out of 10 for the attractions, for the things to do.
So definitely each location has a lot of attractions for a variety of different. So like you can't be bored in each area, and I do like that a lot. Like there's a variety for everyone. Like if I went up with my friends, or if I went up with my family, like there's something for everyone, and I do like that. So I would have to say, just because it seems like they're in my book, in my mind, there's an equal amount of attractions, in each. So definitely 9 out of 10 for both of them.
Very cool. So we're at 17 to 16. Okay. Next section is price tag. This is how expensive is it to go there? This is going to be flight, if there is a flight, hotel, and I think that we said going out of Boston. What's the Boston airport? Boston
Logan?
Chalupa
Named after your
Logan.
Chalupa Batman?
Okay, I don't know every airport. Sorry, I go
Well,
out
it's
of
the
New York
one with the
airports.
same name as your child.
Yeah, Chalupa Batman the first.
Yeah, Chalupa
Okay.
Batman
National
Airport.
Okay. Okay. So that's going to be the place that both are going out of. So this is, how expensive it is to get there. So Val went first last time. So Devin, tell us how expensive it is to go to New Hampshire for a week from Boston, and your time starts now.
Okay, so this is where I'm ready to shine here, because this is where we talk about budgeting. So you could totally do a budget vacation to New Hampshire. It's very simple. As a matter of fact, if you are leaving from Boston, Massachusetts, it's super easy because you can drive there, and you probably will only need, just a full tank to get up there, and maybe you need to fill up on your way back. But, it's very inexpensive to actually get to the destination. And then in terms of hotels, you could get a wide range of hotels. Like I was looking at hotels. So if you were planning to go, for example, next week, I mean, you could easily find a hotel for around $100. That might be like a less than, like maybe not the best one, but if you're looking to stay in like a decent inn, like for example, we were talking about the Christmas Farm Inn before, they actually have rooms available if you were looking to stay for 6 nights. If we're talking about 7 days, you could get a room there for $150 a night. But again, that's going to, like a resort inn and spa, bed and breakfast with really good food, all included. So that definitely makes it worth it. But it does also depend the season you're deciding to go, because if you wanted to go during like one of the peak seasons, which peak seasons would be like right in the middle of the summer, or like once we get towards the fall and people are wanting to go for foliage and such, obviously those times get a little bit more expensive. And for a decent hotel, you'd probably be looking a little bit closer to the $200 a night range. But again, there are plenty of options for less expensive hotels, depending on what you're looking for. And I know that we have a separate section to talk about food, but generally speaking, since it is such a casual environment up there, the price for food would be particularly inexpensive, especially if you chose one of like the local inns that include breakfast. So that's one less meal that you have to worry about. And also, if you're wanting to go on an extra budget trip, you can pack some snacks with you, because that's what I would do. And yeah, I think that pretty much about covers it. But well, in terms of things to do, I mean, like for Storyland, the tickets for
20, you
Storyland,
said.
yeah, it's like about $20 a pop. But if you're talking about a lot of the adventure sports, most of those are free to access. I mean, you could go walking, you could go hiking. Some of the parks might charge an entry fee, but even if they do, it would probably just be for parking, and it would be very inexpensive. So again, it depends on what it is that you're looking to do.
I think probably the most expensive thing would be skiing.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, like I said, if you're staying at a resort, they have so many resorts up there that are all inclusive. So really, it just depends on what it is that you're specifically looking to do while you're up there. But you can definitely go on a budget vacation and find some really inexpensive things to do.
Okay. Very cool. Anybody have any questions for Devin about budget?
Ballpark it. How much would you say a week?
You can do it for under $1,000 a week for sure. If you choose a relatively inexpensive hotel, if you're staying for 6 nights, even if you can find a hotel for $100 a night, which if you go during an off season, you could definitely find a nice one for around $100 a night. And if you could find one that includes breakfast, by the time you budget in a couple of things to do and some meals out, you could definitely do it for under $1,000 for a full week. That's 7 days, 6 nights. So.
Okay.
Oh, bad.
Very cool. Okay, Val, tell us how much it is to go
All
to
right, Val.
Hawaii.
Okay, so
That'll
your
begin
trip
now.
to Hawaii is going to be something that you remember for your entire life. These are like my favorite memories of my life, like top 10, both of them involve Hawaii. It is a magical place. And so in order to get to this magical place, it's far away and has all these amazing things that you can hardly find anywhere else on the planet. You're going to have to pay for it. So the good news is it's not super expensive. A trip to California will cost you about $400, but I've been looking at flights and they start from Boston, direct flights it'll take you from Boston to New Jersey, which is like an hour, and then New Jersey straight to Honolulu. I've seen them for under $600, and I've been looking over the last few weeks and over, looking for random dates in the next year. And so we're saying COVID notwithstanding,
Okay.
I would say around $600 starting. Obviously, if you want to do like first class or upgrades, it's going to be more than that, but it's really not a crazy amount of money to spend. And also, you don't have to worry about driving. You don't have to worry about like someone else is driving the plane. So you can just sit back, have a drink, watch movies. You don't have to worry about the travel. You just have to sit and let it happen.
You can join a club, especially on airplanes.
Yeah, you can play video games, you can read books, you can do whatever you need to do. So since it's such a long flight, I would suggest that you book when gas prices are lower, which is really a strange thing. But I found that when gas prices dip a little bit, the flight prices dip a little bit, and that can save you a little bit of money. So in terms of the hotels, and when you're talking about hotels, resorts, Airbnbs, this is such a huge travel. It's an industry with a ton of tourism, and therefore there's so many different choices, and it's really saturated with your options. And because it's saturated and there's so much competition for this, the tourists to pick certain things, the Hawaii as a whole will do more for you. They'll offer you more amenities to try and catch you and get you to purchase from them or book from them. I found a ton of amazing hotels that are like at least 3 stars for under $200 a night. Obviously, if you want more amenities, if you want higher stars, you can pay a little bit more, but I've stayed at 3-star resorts every time I've gone, and it felt like a 5-star anywhere else. They really do go above and beyond in terms of concierge services, giving you those little extras, free drinks and lays, and things are spotless. And there's these amazing musicians playing, and you're right by the water. So they have like free luau's and all these free things that you can go to surrounding the hotel,
2 minutes.
that are amazing. So if you're looking for something that's all inclusive, those are everywhere too. And so for around the same amount of money, maybe $200-300 a night, you can get your food, your drinks, sometimes your activities like sports, and trips like around the island included in that price. So there's plenty of options to do that. And if you want to dial it back a little bit and do more of like a budget vacation, there's Airbnbs starting at like $50 a night, and they're a little bit they're simple, but it's still like you're still in Hawaii. You step outside and you have like the beauty of the planet in front of you.
Mhm.
And so, most people don't spend their vacation in Hawaii in their hotel room. So if you're okay dialing back a little bit of like, the flounciness of a super fancy hotel room, you can get some amazing Airbnbs for really starting at $50 a night. So that's where you can kind of make up for the cost of the flight. And you can really personalize your amenities and your wants and the things that you want to do. And if you don't want to, there's so many things to do, but you really can just like sit and enjoy the sunshine and the nature, and that doesn't cost anything. You can do hikes.
Mhm.
That doesn't really cost anything. There's a ton of wicked cheap restaurants. I'll talk more about that in the food section, but like you don't have to spend a ton of money on food because everything is so fresh and a ton of stuff is grown there and the seafood is caught like that day. So you really can make up for the flight price in other ways and have like a really quality vacation. Yeah.
Okay. With 20 seconds to spare, Val. Anybody?
House in a pineapple tree and live out your Bob Dole fantasy.
Stop saying.
Pineapples aren't trees.
Does anybody have questions?
How much do you think it would? How much would it cost? Same question that Devin got. How much would it cost for a week?
If you went like bare bones and like an Airbnb that was just like a cute little bungalow, you could get, I don't know, what's 6 nights. So 6 times 50 is 300. I would say that's your bare minimum. Average, I would say maybe is like, I'd say like maybe $150 to $200 a night. So that's, I'm not mathing, someone else math. So, but like,
All right, hang on. How many days are we mathing for?
I would say like 6
days,
nights,
6 nights.
7 days. Isn't that what we were doing?
I mean, we were going Monday to Friday, so I'm going to say
Monday to
4
Friday.
nights.
Oh, Monday to, so if it's Monday to Friday, then if you only need 4 nights, you can,
That's
what? What'd you say?
600 at 150.
Oh yeah, so 600 at 150. So it's really, for your value for what you're getting, really isn't that bad. I mean, you can go to New York City and you can't find a hotel that isn't covered in roaches for under like $100.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not super crazy.
Not as expensive as I thought it was going to be.
It really isn't. That's why I've been
completely
I know
honest.
as much as I can.
I know
Well,
I've been on
you have to include all the price though.
Well, I
Like,
mean, you have the flight, which is
two-way flights.
No, round trip is around $600.
Really?
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, round trips. I've been looking for the last few weeks in preparation for this, and I've been like consistently finding like $600 round trip. Yeah, it's not. That's what I was saying. Round trip is not that bad.
No.
The thing you got to realize, Ryan, is the more often people go to a destination, the less the price for the tickets to go there is. So even though it's a farther destination, places like Hawaii are not always so expensive. You can usually find a decent ticket. Just because there's so many people that go there year round.
Well, it's not only that, you don't need a passport. So if you want like a world-class destination that you don't need to get a passport for, then a ton of people choose Hawaii.
Ryan, a crazy thing to think about it is like you living in Connecticut know that Bradley Airport is like the Connecticut airport.
Yeah.
It costs more money to fly into and out of Bradley Airport than it would to fly out of Boston Logan Airport to
I understand that. I just thought 600 was a one way because of how long of a flight it is.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, no, I was talking round trip. It's crazy. You wouldn't think so, but
no, that's 300 a trip. So that's
But
I
wonder if that number is also because of COVID and because prices are down right now.
Here's the thing. I'll say one more thing. I went right after 9/11 and it was like $200 round trip because no one was flying.
Yeah.
So
oh wow.
So the most that I've ever paid to go there was it was like $850 round trip, 900, and that was a few years ago. And that was like when gas, remember like 5 years or like a little bit longer when gas was like $4 a gallon. It was right around then. And that's when it was like, it was still under 1,000 round trip, which I think is pretty good. Ugh.
Okay, very cool. So it's that time, Jess.
There is obviously one more pricey option than the other, which that's just obvious. You're traveling so far away. I can drive to New Hampshire. I can take a bus. But the memories, though, like when I go on a vacation, I want like memories that I have that I can talk about afterwards. And that's what I really do like. And like when I'm in vacation mode, it sounds bad, but money isn't an issue for me when I'm in vacation mode. So like
Val, but
Wait, hold on. Can I just make a quick statement here? Just one quick statement. I know that you were talking about like memories, vacation. Since New Hampshire is a little bit closer, it's also something you could do more often because it's less expensive. So you could take a couple of, trips out there and really get a lot more for your money than you would by just going to Hawaii once every couple of years. You could go to New Hampshire even a couple times a year, and it could really, because it's a lot more of like an intimate experience, if you're going with your partner, your family, I think that you'd get a lot more bang for your buck by going to New Hampshire. Just wanted to throw that out there.
As far as memories too.
Yeah.
There's a lot more time to make memories.
Yeah, but we have foliage in Massachusetts and Connecticut too. We don't have volcanoes and fucking amazing oceans.
Also, real talk, I looked up Ulani while you were talking, Val, and it just looks so much more beautiful than I remember.
Are you talking about the Disney resort? Oh, for fuck's
my God.
Fuck's sake.
I have a Stitch statue.
I'm gonna start taking a shot every time you say the word Disney and die of alcohol poisoning in the episode.
Yes. Oh God. Okay. So
gosh.
Okay, but real talk.
Could go more frequently to New Hampshire because it costs less and I am close to it. So I could get a bang out of my buck, but then I don't know. I'll do an 8 out of 10 for both of them.
Okay.
Just because like you can get your money's worth for New Hampshire, and then you can also like it's worth the money to go to Hawaii. Like I'd spend that. I mean, I'd plan on spending more on a Disney trip if I'm going to be completely honest. Like so, like oh yeah, I could definitely.
Right.
I'm glad you weren't raiding Japan.
Okay. So Val, you're up first. You're up first this one. Okay, so we just did price. The next thing is safety. And this is kind of an interesting one. It goes a bunch of different ways, but this is basically like, are there natural disaster issues? Are there crime issues? Are there, I don't know,
Animal
like
disasters
wars going on? Or this is kind of like an up in the air, like this is also, other than the price one, this is kind of the I don't know, try and spin it your own way, but how honest are you going to be about crime issues? So but yeah, so this is an interesting one, but this is safety. Are you ready to go, Val?
Yeah. Yes, now that I'm unmuted. Yes.
Okay. And go.
Okay, so crime in Hawaii is very low. Their violent crime rate is at about 2.9 incidents per 1,000 people, and that's lower than the national average of 3.7 out of 1,000. Hawaii is tied with Washington for the second lowest violent crime rate in the Pacific region. They get about 2 murders a year, which is under the national average.
That can't be right. There's only 2 murders in
There's
Hawaii?
an average. No, listen, people are just relaxing and looking at the sun and enjoying.
Yeah, but people live in Hawaii.
Okay, right.
I have a point.
But so the average is around 2. There are obviously, in every place where there's large concentrations of people, there's issues with, that are in every state in the country, like drugs and, things like that. But there's not like a lot of cartel. It's not like a lot of like tropical islands that weirdly have like cartel activity. Hawaii's not like that. It's the crime is more because there's more people. It's concentrated in the more urban areas, and it's there's a ton of Hawaii that like has hardly any people.
Wait. I just want to put this in context. I paused your time for a second. I just want to put this in context. So for what she was saying as far as the Hawaii rate, Rye, that is correct. But you also have to remember that it's a percentage per size of population per size of whatever. Because so 2018 Hawaii's was 2, but United States was 5. So you got to put that in context. So
yeah, this is all just it's statistics, so it's not going to give like the full representation of how.
There wasn't 2 murders. There was 2 murders per certain capita.
Yes.
So
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So okay. So. But yeah, so crime is not a huge issue. Anywhere where there's like a resort culture, a vacation culture, there's going to be drugs, but like it's not like a huge pressing problem for Hawaii. And like I walked. There were a couple times I walked alone at night in Hawaii, and I felt completely safe. The infrastructure is really great, and so I there aren't a ton of issues involving violent crime or crime, organized crime or anything like that. So it's well below the national average in a lot of ways. And I think it really is due to people just like being on island time. People are chill, people are relaxed, and like it doesn't make sense for an industry that so values tourism and like relies on tourism to drive the tourists away by having crime. So they do everything that they can to kind of put the kibosh on it. So what we were talking about earlier in terms of like safety from natural disasters, Hawaii is a volcanic island chain, and it's an active volcanic Hawaiian chain, volcanic chain. And so there is volcanic activity happening. I know a few years back there was volcanic activity that caused a lot of like evacuations of the houses, but that was up in the mountain ranges. It had nothing to do, like when you're at the coast, the likelihood of you where like all the resorts are and the hotels, the likelihood of you having any volcanic activity happen to you is like next to nothing. The Hawaii Mauna Kea is it's the largest. If you measure it from the ocean floor, it's the largest mountain in the world. It's taller than Mount Everest if you measure it from the mountain floor. So it's a really big, large. It's in all, for all intents and purposes, it's pretty damn dormant. It just has those little pockets of lava dribbling out, which I think are more of a draw to like see that once in a lifetime thing. And there's places where you can do it safely from a distance, but it's not really like a safety hazard. And then when I was talking about the tsunamis, because it's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, tsunamis are a possibility, but every so often they'll get a tsunami warning, but that's coming from Japan and the likelihood of it reaching Hawaii. There hasn't been one in like recent history.
Ryan's fault.
What?
It's all Ryan's fault.
So
well for Japan last.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe place to be. Because of tourism, it's they try to control crime, and I've always felt safe being there. There's a ton of people around, and so it's kind of it's hard sometimes to commit crimes when there's cameras everywhere and there's people watching and everything's really well lit and the nightlife is going at all hours. So it's a pretty darn safe place to be, even if you're not in the urban areas. You're in the more rural places. So yeah.
Okay, very cool. Any quick questions for Val as far as safety in Hawaii?
What about animal attacks or pirates?
I had a similar question.
Bob Dole?
No.
So let me put it in perspective. Hawaii has no poisonous land snakes, no bears, no crocodiles, no hippos, no leopards, no Komodo dragons, no hyenas, no lions, no tigers, no poisonous frogs,
no bears. Oh my!
All of the animals that you would think would attack you when you're on an exotic vacation, you're on an island, so they're not there.
Except for the Portuguese man of war. There's a poisonous centipede.
Don't go in the goddamn jungle.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The average person on a hotel vacation in Hawaii is not going to be going on these jungle camping trips. And poisonous centipedes, they don't kill you. They just leave a scar.
Yeah. What about when you go in the ocean?
Running into a centipede is like I swam with sharks there and I was fine.
Yeah, but
sharks are also a threat.
Yeah, but I was 2 miles out. I took a boat 2 miles out to a cage in the middle of the ocean, and that's where the sharks were. The Hawaii's shoreline is all shallow reefs. There's no sharks around there.
Hey, Val.
Then you have barracudas.
Do they got that ringed octopus?
How do you
blue ring octopus?
That's the blue ring, yes.
There's probably poisonous animals in the ocean, but don't touch animals in the ocean to begin with. Coral reefs are so fragile to begin with. Don't fucking touch them. Don't poke the bear and you won't get eaten. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty
stringy looking eel comes out of the coral reef.
Well, eels are actually pretty docile unless you're bopping them on the head. I mean, most things are more afraid of, in terms of scuba and snorkel, most things are more afraid of us than we are of them. Even the sharks that I swam with were super docile. I also will get on a soapbox about this because I think sharks are super demonized. But yeah,
I second that
1,000 times.
Yes.
In all of my ocean exploration of Hawaii, I never felt anything but super safe.
You have 2 sound school alumni right here that believe that so hardcore that it's insane. But yes, sharks are demonized and they're hunted unfairly, and yes.
Jaws fucked sharks over so hard.
Yes. I will get on this soapbox with you.
I also think
I will get on that soapbox with you.
I think Shark Week sucks and it does more damage than it does good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, Devin. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
We got very intense.
I have an important question for Val before we move on from this. It pertains to safety.
What?
Yep.
How do you respond to the fact that there's a literal show about a bounty hunter in Hawaii?
I was thinking the same thing.
His
name is Dog, and he is the bounty hunter.
Yeah, but there's bounty hunters. There's bounty hunters in every state of the country.
Yeah, but we don't make a TV show about them.
Yeah, but that's only because
in Hawaii and Dog the Bounty Hunter.
That has nothing. That's completely irrelevant.
You said there's only 2 crimes per year.
Also, I don't know how safe you could really call an island that is literally continually blowing up by volcanoes.
It's not blowing up. It's not blowing up. It's very
Vesuviusing itself.
It's the same way that you could say that Yellowstone is unsafe because of those bubbling things, or
I 100% believe Yellowstone is unsafe. I'm not going to fucking Yellowstone.
Right, but there's millions of people that go to Yellowstone and are fine. It's the same thing. It's at some point in the millions of years in the future, will it blow up? Maybe, but it's not. That's not a realistic. Yeah, could you get struck by lightning? Yeah, but it's not a realistic danger.
Unless you.
There's also warnings to that too.
You're more likely to get struck by lightning than you are to get blown up by a volcano.
Well, you're more likely to get struck on lightning on Hawaii than you are to get blown up by a volcano.
No, there's not a lot of thunderstorm activity on Hawaii. It's all passing. It's like heat storms, so the lightning goes between the clouds.
Neat.
I mean, this is just a joke point. So don't use this as a safety point at all. But Hawaii is the only U.S. state that's used their nuclear bomb is imminent alert. Yes. Though that was a total
accident.
It was an accident. That's what I'm saying. Don't use this against safety. I'm just saying that Hawaii is the only U.S. state that's used that system.
I mean, technically, it's the only U.S. state. It's the only U.S. state that's in range for a North Korean missile at the moment. So there's that. and
Yeah, but
it's
Chinese
like-
and China and
Listen,
Russia.
these are all things that are not relevant to taking a vacation. Nobody keeps in mind fucking missile attacks when they're planning a vacation. That's not a thing.
Or do
See,
they?
Val,
Or do they?
I would agree with you. However, like 4 years ago, that the thing that Justin was talking about actually did happen, and they had to like evacuate so many people from the hotel.
I understand that, but it was an accident. It wasn't an actual missile attack. And at least they know the system works, which is great.
Our judge.
Our judge said bye.
Back.
I got booted.
Oh
You got
no.
booted.
But yeah,
I said, like you cut out, Justin. You cut out, and then my phone went "Oop, just waiting, and I was like, wait, what?
Interesting. Okay, I didn't touch anything. Okay, are you ready, Devin?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, go.
Sure.
Tell us how safe New Hampshire is.
So New Hampshire is the third safest state in the United States of America, next to Vermont and Maine. So New Hampshire overall, in terms of living there, is a very safe place. And I would argue that in terms of vacationing there, it's even safer. The likelihood of anything happening to you is very, very slim. Particularly if you're staying at one of like the inns or resorts. Of course, New Hampshire is like a very isolated place. Like my uncle does have a cabin out in New Hampshire, and I remember one time like being super scared because we were driving up there and it was nighttime and we just saw a man with a backpack just walking. So I mean, yeah, is there weird things that could happen? Would I recommend like walking in the woods by yourself? No, but if you're going there on a vacation and you're staying, in a local inn or a local resort, if you want to walk outside on the property, by yourself, you're probably going to be fine. Something can happen to you anywhere, whether you're in a city or whether you're in somewhere rural. Overall, I would say New Hampshire is a very safe place. One thing that I do know, and this is just for like, argument purposes, because I know we were talking about this with Hawaii, like there is definitely like a drug crisis in New Hampshire because of the fact that it's so rural. There's a major opioid crisis there, but as you're vacationing, that's really not going to affect you personally, because these people are overdosing because they're out in these rural areas and because they don't have access to resources. The likelihood that while you're on vacation at the Christmas Farm Inn that you're going to come in contact with a drug addict, probably pretty slim. So I would argue that New Hampshire is a very safe place to travel to, and that you would have little to no worries, along the way. Just don't walk by yourself in the woods at night.
Bears.
yeah, well, probably, yeah. That's a good rule for anywhere.
Yeah. So
Don't
like,
walk by yourself.
something could happen to you anywhere, whether you're in the
Yeah.
city or whether you're in somewhere rural. But New Hampshire overall is a very safe place to travel to. It's an even safer place to live. In terms of crimes against property, very low. So there's not really a whole lot to worry about there.
Oh my
Okay.
god. My mom just texted me. She hates the snow, and hence why she moved to North Carolina. She goes, I would take drugs too if I lived in New Hampshire. She's like so vehemently anti-snow. Oh my God. But that's, I will say that drug issues happen anywhere, like Cape Cod.
There, it's here too. Like in Connecticut, there's a major opioid
Mhm.
crisis.
Yeah.
So
Thanks,
Yeah.
Willow
Same with
Maniac.
mass.
Yeah.
mhm.
And I'm sure there's parts of Hawaii that struggle with drugs. It just doesn't seem it's harder to smuggle drugs halfway across the world on boats and planes than it is to just like drive it. So I feel like there's less of like opioids, but I'm sure there's like crazy weed
No,
farms.
actually, there's more opioids because there's part of the crisis
Hawaii?
is coming from China. So there
There isn't an opioid problem in Hawaii. It's not like a concentrated thing.
yeah.
I mean, they do a lot of meth there, though, but that's just like
Yeah.
every backwoods area of town.
Yeah, anywhere where there's opiates, meth, it all. You get into rural areas of anywhere, you're gonna get hard drugs. People have nothing to do. Excuse me.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Devin as far as
Animal attacks, anything?
bears.
Yeah,
Moose,
could it
Steve's
happen
favorite
when you're
question.
hiking in the woods? But you have to travel safely. Like even so like my dad and my uncle are like really big into hiking and mountain biking and stuff. And you do have to be careful because yes, there are bears, especially if you're hiking in the mountains. Yeah, that's definitely something that you have to be aware of if that's part of, what you're going to do there. So just travel safely. I don't know, like bring a machete or a spray.
No, you
Yeah.
don't bring a
Bring out
machete
your
to fight a
gun.
bear.
What about like you can also like hit a moose that can kill you in your car driving
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Like,
So animal things could definitely happen. There are moose out there. Like my uncle's cabin in New Hampshire, he has like video cameras and everything set up, and he's caught moose. So I mean, yeah, could it happen? Absolutely. But I mean, as long as you're traveling safely, I think it's not a huge concern. If you're traveling along, like if you are deciding to go for a hike, if you're going in an area that's marked and such, I think it would be less of a concern.
I think the perfect example of how to be safe in Vermont or wherever the fuck we're talking about is don't be a basic white bitch when you see a bobcat on the trail.
have you seen those videos of people in Yellowstone getting out and
No.
walking towards
That's what I
bears?
mean.
The
Oh
video-
yeah.
Yeah, and they're just like, I want to take a picture so much closer to this bear, and then the bear mauls them to death because
Those people, honestly, if you get out of the car to take a picture of a bear, you deserve to get eaten.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
Hey Devin, real talk though, I think my favorite part of your conversation just now was when you said that New Hampshire was right next to Vermont and Maine, because it is.
Yes, it is.
No,
I
as
wasn't
far as
saying
the
that, but
safety,
yeah,
I
because
know, but it was funny to me because I heard that, and that's how my mind went. All right, Jess,
More
score me, daddy.
Oh,
score me, daddy.
so both places do sound relatively safe. Like the drug thing is not like a big issue to me because like everywhere has crime, everywhere has drug issues. Like down the street, we have a trailer park. Someone ODs every day, so like that's not an issue to me. There's crime everywhere every day, so they both seem relatively safe to me. Like I'd feel fine traveling to each of them. Wouldn't want to walk at night in New Hampshire though, but that's just me because I have walked at night in New Hampshire and it's sketchy. But overall safe. So 8 out of 10 for both of them.
Okay.
I love how we never cover the undertow of Hawaii or
Yeah.
mountain the undertow of the ocean for Hawaii or rock slides or
The tides in
anything.
Hawaii. Listen, if you're gonna go where people are having 100-foot waves and surfing, yeah, you're probably gonna die if you're just swimming there. But like the vast majority of where resorts are on the island, the tide is there's like no waves. It's all on the north side of the islands where all the waves are, and all the resorts tend to be on the south side. And that's the way that the currents flow. It's much calmer on the south side. There's also way more sharks on the north side because of the way the currents flow.
Good thing I don't swim in the ocean
Also,
because
Steve, not for nothing,
seaweed freaks me out.
rocks are going to be in bigger danger because of D&D when Justin gets pissed off at us.
What I do?
No, I'm not repeating.
Nothing,
Nothing.
Steve.
Nothing.
Don't
No.
worry about it.
Nothing.
Steve.
He cut out. I couldn't
You can
hear
listen
him.
to this episode.
Move forward. Move forward.
Okay. So our next section is culture. This is what is the culture like? What do they do? What do the native whatever do for fun? Is it a more modern culture or an old culture? Like, what's the cultural feel like? Like just describe that kind of thing. Val went first last time, right? That's right. Yeah. So Devin's
Yeah.
first this time. I have the timer up, and if you are ready, Devin, you can start now.
Okay, so the culture in New Hampshire is relatively casual. I mean, it's not very much different from where we are here. A lot of people that do live out there. I would say specifically, like I mentioned earlier, I had talked about Jackson, New Hampshire specifically. I mean, virtually most of the places that you would travel to in New Hampshire for vacation destinations, it's small town vibes. So like that's really the best way to describe it is, I believe that they said, I mean, the population of Jackson, New Hampshire was like some very, very small number. So, we're talking about places that, you're going to go to, get coffee at a local place and they're going to remember your name if you live there. And, in terms of accommodations, when you're traveling there, that's, you're really going to get, a lot of special attention because people there, they treat locals very well. They treat guests very well. They're very hospitable. And because New Hampshire there's so many different adventure activities. That's a lot of it too. It's a casual environment. It's an outdoor environment. A lot of people out there do like to get out. They like to hike and they really like to enjoy nature and, just get out. So like I said, I think the best way to describe the culture there is just small town, small town, like village vibes. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Any questions? Is there a lot of flannel?
Oh yes. Have you ever seen a Hallmark movie?
That's
We're
more
talking.
me.
I'm gonna just
Jess is gonna fit in
Christmas
perfectly.
Farm Inn, flannel, small town, coffee
Buffalo,
shop.
buffalo plaid. Give me all the buffalo plaid.
Yeah.
Long sleeve flannels and booty shorts.
Oh,
Flannels and leggings.
yeah, I like that.
Okay, Val, are you ready to tell us about Hawaii's culture?
I am ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm focusing on native culture since it's the most interesting part of Hawaii. There's like, it's a melting pot because there's people that come from all over the world, but I'm going to focus on native culture. Hawaii is is one of those places where you can get immersed in a culture that is completely different from yours, but it also makes you feel like you're part of their community and part of their part of their, sorry, my internet just cut out, part of their like ohana or their family. There's tons of cultural influences as groups of like native Polynesians have been inhabiting the island since 500 AD and Tahitians have been inhabiting since 1000 AD. So they've been there putting down roots and having traditions for a very long time. And those cultures were untouched until the 1700s. So they have a complex, like beautiful heritage. Indigenous tribes are largely polytheistic, which means they believe in lots of different gods. There's dozens of gods, demigods, and like holy entities within Hawaiian culture representing all facets of Hawaiian existence, like including the land, the mountains, the ocean, weather, emotions, animals. And so they believe that the entire existence in and of itself is sacred and they treat everyone and everything as such. Non-natives are sometimes referred to as haole, which is like without breath, which essentially means without spirit. So it means that like, they really respect the island and cultivating it, they believe in harmony, balance, guardianship, and coexistence with their environment. They're extremely family and group oriented, community oriented. Respect is an integral part of their values. Like aloha doesn't mean hello and goodbye. It literally means I respect you or respect. They're deeply they integrate respect of their elders, their community, their islands. They value interdependence and realize that like no one person can create this beautiful paradise that they have without, the help of other people. And they treat you like that as well. They will treat you like you are part of their community. They've maintained really strong native traditions from their like deeply meaningful tattoo practices, their traditional clothing and textile making, their native art styles, storytelling. It's passed down from generation to generation. Hula dancing is actually their form of storytelling, passed down through generation to generation. Their fishing, their hunting, their cooking, their house building practices. They just have such a rich, generations and generations long culture that they have done an amazing job preserving. And when you are there, they will share with you, you can participate in luau's where they'll do these beautiful storytelling hula dances for you. You can really get a sense of like, community and like how everyone respects their family and they respect the sanctity of the island, and they'll share those messages with you. And so you come away from your vacation really feeling like, I've been immersed in this culture that is so different from mine, but there's so many similarities. And I have this renewed sense of respect and sanctity for my environment, for the world that I live in, for the animals that I'm around, for the plants that I'm around. And personally, it's completely like Hawaii has changed the way that I think about the world because it is so beautiful and it is in like balance with nature. I think Western culture sometimes, and especially, you know, in like the metropolis of like New England down to New York, it's so it's so based on commercialism and capitalism that you kind of lose touch with the fact that like we're from the earth, we belong to the earth, and we have to love the earth because we're part of it. And you know, you really get a beautiful sense of that from the culture of Hawaii, from like, you know, your food to like, you know, the way that they speak to each other, to the way that they you know, the way that they build things. Any aspect has that like ohana. And oh, hold on there, do I have time to say
yep.
1 minute?
You're
Okay.
1 minute, sorry.
So here's some values that I thought were really beautiful about Hawaiian culture. Aloha, which means respect and compassion. Ike pono, which means to know, to feel, to understand. Kupa'a, which means like to stand firm in your beliefs. Laulima, which is many hands working together. Malama, which is caring, nurturing others, and protecting your community. And Ohana, which, John, what does Ohana mean?
Family, which means no one gets left behind.
Yeah, so you can really get a sense through some of their words of you know, the values and part of the, yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
pretty passionate.
So as soon as you said Howley, the only thing I can think of is the South Park episode when Butters finds out that he's Hawaiian and he has to go back to get his Kupo something. I don't know what the fuck it's called. And they're talking about the Howleys, and it's literally, it's like the people that vacation there every year are saying that they're natives, and
you know
everyone
why
that comes
they came up with that term? So that term Howley means like without soul, and it was like they started using that term when Captain Cook showed up and started like stealing their land and like killing their chiefs and stuff. They're like, oh, these people are like really pale. They must not have and they're doing these terrible things. They must not have a soul.
So
Typical white people.
And then
That's
Bob
so
Dole
wild.
showed up and started making these goddamn pineapple plantations to make these fucking pineapple rings.
I shared I shared a there's a drunk history episode about it, and about how Captain Cook fucked them, and then also the US government fucked them. The fact that their estate was not their
And
choice.
now they're being fucked on a daily basis by every single one of those resorts and by the government itself. They're being, the people that live there will, like the actual residents that don't live on the main island, will tell you, hey, we get fucked every single day because we're a tourist destination.
Yeah.
Our culture is taken and it's sold to people.
That's the entire, but like that's America. I mean, New England.
But I mean, like,
if you want to talk about,
if you're talking about culture, the culture that like they have there has been being sold since it became a destination.
Yeah, but you could say that about New England. You could say that about New Hampshire. We stole it from Native Americans. It just happened longer ago.
But the issue that I have
once and for all.
Wait, no, John, the issue that I have with Hawaii is that whenever anybody gets angry about cultural appropriation, they're talking about like people wearing kimonos or something. Oh, cultural appropriation is like, you go to Hawaii and it's literally like half the shit that you do is cultural appropriation.
Yes.
Like, it's really bad.
Going to a luau at a resort is like, I mean, I can't picture going to a luau at a resort and going, oh, this is authentic, because that's definitely watered down.
There's levels to it. There are authentic luau's where they will do storytelling. Like, yeah, there's obviously like kitschy. There's kitschy shit anywhere you go on vacation, but there are places that you have to pay. It's really fucking expensive to show up, and you really do get like authentic storytelling, and they'll give you the history of their culture and their community and why they tell the stories the way that they do. And you really do get a sense of like, it's obviously not authentic because you're sitting there in front of a culture as like another culture. So it's not authentic because they're not telling the story to their own people, but it's authentic in a way that's like, that's storytelling.
I highly recommend you finding the episode that Anthony Bourdain did in Hawaii.
Yeah, he was on Maui.
Huh?
Yeah, he went to Maui or Kauai or something, and they were
He
talking
went to the
about-
other islands. He
Kona.
went to one of the islands that's like, oh, we don't normally like tourists being on this island, and like they're explaining, they're like, yeah, like our
That
culture's
specific
just been
island-
told.
Yeah, that specific island is a little bit more restrictive because it's more
Yeah.
like pure. They have more of their like natural, the natural beauty. There's not a lot. They don't want because so much of the island is modernized. They want to keep that island to themselves because it's so pristine. So I totally understand where they're coming from, where they say, we want this island to ourselves. And yeah, it's obviously, there's going to be parts of the population that are like, oh, our culture is being poached and our culture is being rolled over. But like, again, you could say that about anywhere in America because of indigenous.
No, you can.
I mean,
Yeah.
even the place with the observatory, like they didn't want that built. They were like,
Nope.
Don't build it up there. That's our sacred spot.
Right.
And then
right.
the government and like the researchers and everything were like, no, that's the best place to look at the stars. We're going up there.
Yeah, but
and they couldn't do shit.
Here's the other thing though. Without tourism, there would be so much poverty in Hawaii. There would be a ton of poverty. There would be no modern, like if we were to just leave Hawaii untouched, there would be no education. There'd be no infrastructure. So unfortunately, tourism.
No, because there's still a lot of poverty in Hawaii.
Of course there is, but imagine how much more there would be if we didn't have any modern any tourism.
I don't know. Well, actually, I don't think so because Hawaii has a
You think
huge,
Hawaiians would
Hawaii has the
culture?
most cows per acre. It
Yeah, but they were brought there by Westerners.
Yeah, what I'm saying is if they didn't have tourism, they could be like an agricultural state and it could be like all this
No, they
stuff.
wouldn't
Okay, we have to move on.
On boats. You can't bring cows over on boats from, you know what I mean? They would be literally living in if we didn't touch them at all, they would be living in the same types of, environments that they were in, hundreds of years ago, which like, in one sense, I'm sure that they would love that because they are so connected to their past and connected to the earth. And I'm sure that they try to preserve that as much as possible. And I totally respect that. But I don't think that they would be able to accomplish a lot of the things that they would if they weren't, attached to the United States and therefore all of the modern Western, industrial bullshit. You know what I mean? They wouldn't probably have like skyscrapers on Honolulu.
I mean, at this point, the U.S. government has like so many reasons to keep Hawaii. It's fucking crazy. Like, even if every single native person there was like, we don't want to see a single white person ever again, the U.S. would be like, nope, you're strategically military, you're strategically tourism, you're strategically like a research place. You're part of our fucking country, and we don't give a shit.
Well, I mean, I think the fact that
put that same for Puerto Rico.
The fact that we're even talking, I think the fact that we're even talking about how much people want to preserve their culture, like, really goes to show how special the culture of Hawaii is.
Yeah.
Because we're like having this huge discussion about, the delicate balance of preserving it and therefore, the problems that it causes.
We've gone way over time on this category.
Yeah. Okay, I'll shut up.
Yeah, shut up, Val.
Okay, Devin, tell us about culture in New Hampshire.
We already
did. We have to move on to food.
Oh, right.
No, it's
Sorry,
the
you went
voting.
first this time. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
plaid and booty shorts. We've already established that. Lots of
Okay. So let's Jess, really quick, what's the 1 through 10 on culture, and then we'll move on to food.
So definitely when I think of a vacation, because I live in a small town, I don't necessarily want to vacation in a small town. So I'm gonna have to go with Hawaii on the more culture side. So definitely Hawaii 9 out of 10, and then New Hampshire sort of like a 7 out of 10. It's a little low, but like it's just I don't think of going like when I want to go on a vacation, I want to go somewhere different.
Okay.
Where I don't get to go to all that often.
Okay. So we are at 42.39, going into technically our last category, which is going to be food.
Justin, real quick for this one, don't share your screen to put your scores up at the end.
Right.
We're gonna let this be a fun transition for the whole crowd at home.
Okay.
Listeners in 2 weeks.
So food. What is the food like? Does this place have its own culture of food? What are the most famous dishes there? That kind of stuff. Devin went first last time, so Val, it's all you, and your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay, so Hawaii has a lot of beautiful influences for their culinary palette, I like to call it. Since it's a vacation hotspot, there's like world-class Michelin star restaurants scattered throughout the islands, but there's also like super affordable, really delicious quality restaurants and little spots littered in everywhere. There's a ton more though. Hawaii is known for its like vast pineapple farm. So pineapple is served in almost every meal. Hawaii is also known for some of the highest quality coffee beans on the planet. So if you've ever drank a Kona blend of coffee, that's where it's from, is the Kona Island, the Kona side of the Big Island. Native influences include poi, which is a sticky paste made from the taro root that's heavily processed, and there's a huge cultural importance for that. Other native influences are pit roasted pig, fish, other meats that are smoked, seaweed salad, which is harvested from the ocean, and something called halpia, which is a sweet dessert made from coconut milk and sugar, and it's really, really good. Spam is also very popular in Hawaiian culture. It was introduced by the U.S. military in World War I, and Hawaiians like took it and ran with it. So you'll find spam on things in like the McDonald's on the island, and like spam is in a lot of different like local dishes since it's so inexpensive and easy to use. Since Hawaii is a year-long tropical climate, they're capable of growing fresh fruits and vegetables all year round, as well as cultivating livestock. So this like really positively affects the food industry and allows guests to enjoy food that's like fresh grown. There's a lot of farm to table stuff going on. Street food is a huge part of Hawaiian culture. There's always like fruit stands and drink carts and like shave ice vendors, which is essentially like Hawaiian snow cone with like ice that they chip off a block, and it's got sugary syrup and it's amazing. There's tons of street food vendors selling their offerings in like both the city and the rural parts of Hawaii. Since Hawaii is in the middle of the ocean, the bounty of marine life is like insane. The seafood of Hawaii is unmatched almost anywhere in the world. There's fish markets all over the cities and villages. Most restaurants serve food that's been harvested. If you get seafood, it's like been swimming, like it was swimming sometimes the day before or even that day. So it's so fresh and it's so delicious. Since it's, close to Japan in terms of like, you keep going that way, you get to Japan, there's a ton of Japanese influence. Japanese culture's had a big influence on Hawaii as well. So there's a huge sushi industry there. There's a huge, because of all like the seafood coming in, and it's a tropical climate that grows those fresh fruits and veggies, it has some of the world's like most incredible sushi and sashimi dishes. Poke is a huge thing in Hawaii, and that's marinated raw sushi chunks over rice with different vegetables and sauces. I watched a man take a tuna from the boat, carve it, slice it up, marinate the tuna, put it in a bowl, and then I ate it. And it was the most, I am a sushi whore. Like I'll eat almost any kind of sushi.
Soundbite.
Yeah. I'm a lost slut and a sushi whore. But when I went, it was just like the poke was out of this world. So like if you're looking for both like exotic cuisine, you can also get like cheeseburgers and stuff because there's it's a tourism thing. So if you don't like seafood, you can get anything that you could possibly imagine. There's a restaurant nearby if you're in the hotel area.
Can I get deer and elk?
I mean, why would you want to have food that's meat that's shipped across the entire country for like days at a time when you can have like fresh food that was picked that day? Like you can walk along the forest and pick lilikoi, which are passion fruit, and star fruit and avocado. So it's got some of the most fresh seafood, the most fresh fruits and veggies. So you really do like eat healthy and like, anything you want there because it's a huge tourist spot you can get. So it's really like to your heart's delight. But I do
you can get deer, John. Deer are actually a huge problem on the islands too.
Yeah, maybe you can, but I wouldn't. If you can get them on the island, sure, but I don't go to some place in the middle of the Pacific Ocean looking for deer if I can get it where I live. I want to be like, I want to eat food that's part of like, the culture around where I'm visiting. So yeah.
Your time is up. Let's go to Devin. Resetting the clock. Devin, go ahead and tell us about the food in New Hampshire.
Sure. So unlike Hawaii, I mean, you're not going to be getting any, particularly exotic food. And it also depends too on where you are in New Hampshire. But one thing that I will say is if you're staying at like a local place, like I was talking before about the Christmas Farm Inn, because, I really want to go there. So like if you stay at the Christmas Farm and you get everything all in one stay, like your hotel stay includes breakfast, but they do also have a restaurant there as well. But if you're eating lunch or dinner there, then, that is an additional charge. The breakfast would actually be included in your stay. The price for lunch and dinner would be separate, but a lot of, places in New Hampshire, because like I said, there's such a small town vibe. There's a lot of like local little restaurants and local little pubs, and a lot of it is centered around American cuisine, but I know like some popular dishes out there, you've got lobster rolls and pancakes and like those types of things, maple syrup. Those are all the types of things that, New Hampshire is, I guess you could say, as close to being known for as possible. I don't think most people, go to New Hampshire for the food, but again, a lot of it depends on what you're looking to do there. If you're looking to stay, at a little inn. There we go. That's it. The Christmas Farm Inn.
Well, everyone kind of knows what Hawaii
so
looks like. And
yeah, but it probably only looks like that 2 weeks out of the year. The rest is covered in snow.
I'm sure it's prettier in the snow, actually.
Oh my God. Yeah, and like all of the rooms are named after like really cute like you have the Mr. and Mrs. Claus room, the Three Wise Men, Dasher, Vixen, Cupid, Sleigh Bells, like all of the rooms are themed.
What if you're Jewish?
And you don't go there.
Then you don't go to New Hampshire. There's a big sign, no Jewish people.
Actually, it's just live free or die. But anyways.
Please make sure you soundbite that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, any place. So, I mean, obviously there is the Christmas Farm Inn, but there's a lot of other local little inns. Each little place is going to have their particular specialty, just as anywhere else. Of course, no particularly exotic foods. But, the smaller and the more local, the fresher the food will generally be. So, yeah. And also, if you're just looking for like a really, really casual getaway, I know, like I said, my uncle with his cabin up in New Hampshire, a lot of what they do there is they bring their own food and they grill and they just, come up with some really good ideas, of things that they could make on the grill or things that they could make at home, depending on what they're doing. So, but if you're looking to eat out and if you're looking to stay at a local little place, there's definitely good options for food.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. So give them a score on that. That I will record. And then the final one, we don't have any kind of like talking. So you're going to give them a score 1 out of 10 for food, Jess. Let's do that first.
Hawaii, 9 out of 10, and New Hampshire, a 9 out of 10, just because I like all of that type of food. I'll eat anything. So I like that. I can eat a seafood. I can eat a burger. So I like food.
Okay. And then the last one is effectiveness. So this is basically just you're a school teacher and you're rating them on how effective and how good their presentation was.
Oh gosh.
We added this because our first one ever was between Steve and John, and John came in with a page of notes, and Steve came in throwing things off the top of his head. So we felt like we had to give John a little bit of an edge just for the preparation he did.
So it was stacked against me.
Ooh, I want to say definitely both teams were very effective. I do feel like Val did a lot of research, though. I feel like
she's been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been to New
like
Hampshire, but
yeah.
I haven't been to the Christmas farm in yet.
Wait, hang on.
I also really love.
I want to say both teams were very effective.
Hey, Devin.
Yes.
Would you go to Hawaii based on everything Val told you?
She was very persuasive, I will say, but I would never want to go to Hawaii. Hawaii would be the last place on my destination.
We're not beach people.
No,
we're not
I
hot
hate the beach.
weather
I hate
people.
the warm weather. But off of Val's explanation, if I were a person who didn't thoroughly dislike beaches and warm weather, I'd probably go. Val did a wonderful job. Like, she could literally be like a tour guide for somebody if they were like looking like for where to travel, but you could never convince me. You couldn't even pay me to go to Hawaii. I wouldn't want to go.
Orlando, though, so I've got that going for me. Val, same question in reverse.
So again, I agree. You did an amazing job explaining it, and like, I fucking hate the snow, man. I hate the snow. I hate the cold. I am like the complete opposite. Like, bake me in the fucking sun and in the ocean. That's all. I'm like a wicked ocean person. But like, you did make me want to like maybe take a trip there when it's not like the middle of blizzard season. And like, I feel my answer is practically the same. I feel like you did a great job, and although I fucking hate, I don't really go to New Hampshire unless I'm paid to go for like a wedding that I'm working or something. But I mean, I would love to like throw on. I'm sure that at some point next winter I'll throw on some plaid and like fuck up some pancakes in an Airbnb. That sounds fine. I just will hate the snow. But I can hate the snow. I can hate the snow from my house for free in Boston.
Okay, so Jess.
I want to say both were very effective. Like, both definitely did their research on the places that they are talking about, and like I'd love to go. I mean, I've been to New Hampshire, so obviously, yeah, I'd go to New Hampshire, but I've never been to Hawaii, and I was always, because I'm not a tropical person. Like, I do like the warm weather, and I do like the beach, but I have to be in the mood for it. But definitely, like, after hearing Val's argument, I'd be like, okay, I could see myself like relaxing with a drink and being fanned by someone. I do like that idea. So I want to say both, definitely 9 out of 10 for both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we both did a lot of. I'm proud of the research that both of us did, and I knew that going in. I'm like, she's gonna kick ass with research.
I'm also planning to go to the Christmas farm and for my birthday in July.
This is why I love this.
This is like a practical, application for me.
But like, hard same.
She wasn't really convincing Jess. She was convincing me.
I was convincing him.
Hey, hold on. This is important. Did she convince you?
Well, yeah. I was already gonna do it.
So then she didn't convince you, Ryan. Don't be a lying bitch.
Okay, so final standing is 60-57.
Which one won, Justin?
Hawaii. Sorry, for audio medium, Hawaii.
Val. Yay!
I apologize.
Thank you. I had a very worthy competitor.
Okay, very cool.
Spam is fucking disgusting, Val.
I took 5 pages of single space notes so I could do this. I haven't taken 5 pages of single space notes since I was in college, and I just want you to know that I did it because I was very invested in this because I knew you were going to kick ass.
The 3-episode podcast making you do schoolwork.
I know, dude. It's like, yeah.
Hey, Justin, real talk. Can we make that a t-shirt?
Sure. I will throw that in my t-shirt. I have a notebook. I have a page somewhere
Can you make a lost slut t-shirt, please?
Yes, I will add both of those
I'm
to
a
my
sushi
list.
whore.
I'm a sushi whore. Yeah.
Okay.
They're all just gonna be filthy things.
I feel like the
He
sushi
wants a
horror
public
one would be
school.
good if you get like a very anime looking sushi chef guy, and he's got like rosy cheeks, like he looks like he's embarrassed.
What's the face? What's the anime orgasm face? I want the anime cross-eye orgasm face with a piece of
Oh, the Ahigo face.
Yeah, that's what I
Ahigo
want.
face?
I want that. I want
Where
me
it's
doing this
cross-eyed.
and crossing my eyes with a little piece of sushi on my tongue. That's what I want.
Okay.
Nothing
Well, with that behind us, it is that time.
What time is it, Justin?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is recommendation time.
Okay, so we've come to recommendation time. Who would like to go first? Bueller.
I'll go
You ready?
first. I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
I'm literally just gonna recommend Hawaii. So I know I just talked about it for a long time, but it honestly, since the first time I went in my teens, like I have dreams about it like once every few weeks, and like a dream of mine someday is to go live there. It's just, I think it's one of those things that like, even if you are not a beach person, even if you are not, it's like worth going once in your life to just like, it's like another planet. It really is. It reminds me of like Avatar. It's amazing. And so
Pandora, Steve, you can go there.
but yeah, I would say, and I would maybe suggest going, once COVID's over and we can travel, I would suggest that, because like the plane tickets are probably going to be cheap for a while. So maybe do that once in a lifetime trip after you've been stuck in your house for at least a year and a half. And also, I should be a travel agent, I think, for specifically Hawaii. But yeah, everyone go to Hawaii, and then when I move there, everyone visit me in Hawaii.
Well, that's I mean, Amber and I say all the time that we're going to retire in Greece. So
I love Greece. Greece is my second favorite. All right, I'll go visit you in Greece, and you can come visit me in Hawaii. How about that?
Okay, sounds good.
Goals.
I guess we retire in Japan.
We should get all the continents. Who wants to go to Antarctica?
Cover everything.
Here, I've already got that covered. I'm going to go to Epcot Center.
Oh God.
UK to France.
No, John is going to be one of those people that retire and then goes and works for Disney. He's just going to be like a tour guide.
He's going to be a volunteer at Disney.
No, he's going to retire and live in a double wide so he can go to fucking afford to go to Disney every other day.
Yeah.
In Florida.
He's gonna live in
my summer vacations were spent in a double wide in Illinois, correct? Like that's not an insult to me. That just reminds me of my childhood. And you're a bigger piece of shit than I remember. Hey, I'm gonna recommend Jess's Twitch stream because it's fun as hell and I get to annoy her like on the daily. So Jess, what's your Twitch stream?
Oh, it is www.twitch.tv/Singnatra_.
Hey Jess, what's your next cosplay stream gonna be?
Until someone turns in the channel points.
You never paid me out for my last one, so you owe me.
Yes, I did.
You didn't.
What? When did you turn them in?
Oh my gosh. Just don't give him anything.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Never give Riv anything.
We had a full plan and everything. Jess.
Run away.
I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna recommend Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The last episode 4 was insane. And it's starting to get really good. I thought it was kind of boring at the beginning, but it's gotten really good. So yes, the new Captain America is a shitty person.
It's U.S. agent, get it right, goddammit.
Well, whatever. So watch that. Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. Really good. So that's my recommendation. Ryan, go next.
All right. Since Devin and I both watched 2 movies this week, I'm gonna take one. She's gonna take her favorite. So I'm gonna take watch Weekend at Bernie's again. That movie fucking holds up. It's fucking amazing. It's hilarious as fucking shit. It's not, there's nothing really that, like, it's not one of those 80s movies that as you're watching it, you feel bad for like, oh, all these weird jokes that they made. It's just them making fucked up things with a dead body, and it's fucking hilarious. The whole entire movie is great. It's really, as funny as it used to be. It's still funny as hell. Weekend at Bernie's holds the fuck up. It is still a good movie.
And I am going to recommend Office Space because I watched the movie for the first time. And I kid you not, I watched it once and it's officially my favorite movie ever. I couldn't stop talking about it. I couldn't stop sending Ryan gifts the next day.
Very cool.
Milton is my favorite character because he's going to set the building on fire.
My stapler. They took my stapler.
my stapler.
They put me in the basement.
My great stapler.
They told me that they could listen to the radio between 8 and 2. That's it.
My favorite part was
Best movie ever. No need to say more.
YouTube has gotten really good with their free movies with ads. Evolution is on there now, Down Periscope, some just classic, like, funny films. I mean, that's a secondary recommendation for me. It's just the free YouTube movies, if you can deal with the ads, or if you have an ad blocker like I do, you have no ads. So
right. Office Space is free on Hulu right now too. So
yeah.
So Steve, you go, and then our special guest will go, and then we'll close up.
I'm gonna recommend going outside because the weather's finally getting nice enough to actually enjoy the weather. Get out of your house. Don't be bums and just stay inside. Go outside, enjoy the weather. Take a walk around your neighborhood. Chop down a tree or so. That's what I've been doing.
Put us on your podcast ears.
I don't know if you saw, Steve, but I spent the entire day on Saturday outside ripping up my backyard. So
no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, the back almost all the asphalt is gone from the backyard. So
wow,
that was a pain in the asphalt.
Yeah, it was not fun, especially the next day.
I mean,
okay.
I had
Jess, what is your recommendation? And then we'll close out for the night.
So I'm going to recommend a movie as well because I watched it over the weekend and I actually ended up really liking it. I watched the new Sonic movie, the one with Jim Carrey, and it was so good. And I was super
it was.
I'm not like a Sonic fan either.
Sure if you were trolling or not.
No, I'm not really a Sonic fan. Like, obviously I know who he is and the games and stuff, but we came home after like a 5-mile hike. So all of us were super tired and we're like, yeah, let's watch it. It was free. Oh my God. It was actually really funny.
Yeah. Jim Carrey pulls that. Yeah. He pulls that character off really, really, really well. So yes, it was quite a good movie.
Oh,
speaking of movies,
I was shocked and I can't wait for the second one.
Oh yeah, I love that they greenlit that. Speaking of movies, Palm Springs, also on Hulu, was extremely good.
Yes, dude, that was not what I expected it to be in all of the best ways.
Yes, that was a very, very, very fucking good movie. If you like Groundhog's Day, go watch Palm Springs on Hulu.
Can I also recommend Volcano?
Sure.
It takes place in, I believe, Hawaii.
No, West Coast.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Never mind. Don't want to recommend
it. I mean,
I believe it's in Washington, right?
If we're gonna recommend Volcano, we might as well recommend Dante's Peak as well.
With
Volcano. Yeah.
How about Dawson's Creek for a TV series?
Oh God. Okay. Before this gets out of control, thank you for listening or watching us. If you want to listen to us again or catch up on any of their episodes, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, and a handful of other podcast platforms. If you can't find us on your favorite podcast platform, please let us know so I can work on getting us there. Our tag you can use to find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and more is 3EP Podcast. Our website is 3eppodcast.com. Please come check it out. We live stream our episodes almost every Tuesday around 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Please give us a like and most definitely comment so we know what you think about what we're doing, and let us know if you have any suggestions for future trios. If they're listening to us on SoundCloud or YouTube or any other platform that supports it, which most do nowadays, what do they do, Steve?
Like comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Thanks, Devin.
Oh, wait, hit the bell note and hit the bell
I'm
note.
not on every week. I have to do it when I'm here.
And hit the bell, right, Steve?
Later.
Oh, salty. Please also remember to check out our network at giveusashot.network, where you can find our sister podcast as well as our t-shirts and other merch. I'm also going to work on getting us a store so I can put up a couple more t-shirts and other things. I've been looking at a couple of options. Next week, we are also going to have our second interlude quiz. The interlude quizzes are going to be YouTube exclusive. So all of our interludes are going to be only on YouTube now, since the visual medium is just it's going to be lost on an audio podcast. So we're going to be doing those exclusively on YouTube. So follow us here, throw us a subscribe, and everyone say good night to the peoples.
Good night to the people.
Good night to the peoples.
Aloha and mahalo.
About Borderlands.